She slapped me in front of 130 guests. The sound cracked louder than the music, sharper than the clinking of glasses. My cheek burned, but my voice stayed calm. I didn't argue, I didn't beg, I just turned and walked out of the hall. As the doors closed behind me, I pulled out my phone and made a single call. 30 minutes later, when the man walked through those same doors, every face in that room turned pale. My new daughter-in-law dropped her glass. My son's shoulders slumped. And then came the tears. But let me take you back. I raised my son alone. His father died when he was young, leaving me with nothing but debts and a boy who looked at me like I was his entire world. I worked 3 jobs. I sacrificed sleep, comfort, and years of my own life to buy us a home, a small apartment that became our fortress. Every scratch on its walls, every chair, every book, I had paid for with my sweat. That place wasn't just brick and plaster. It was proof that we had survived. Proof that I had given my son stability, even when the world tried to take everything. So when he met her, I welcomed her. I wanted to believe she'd love him like I did. I wanted to believe he'd finally have his own family, his own happiness. I was wrong. It started small. Her comments, sharp as glass, always disguised as jokes. Your apartment is cozy for now. Or, you don't really need all that space at your age, do you? She wanted the apartment. She didn't hide it. She spoke about it like it was already hers. My son laughed nervously each time, avoiding my eyes. That avoidance told me everything. He had promised her my home, promised her my life's work. And instead of defending me, he stayed silent. At the wedding, under chandeliers and roses, she stood up, in front of everyone, and she demanded my apartment keys as if I were some tenant overstaying my welcome. When I refused, she slapped me. Her hand trembled. Mine did not. I left quietly, but inside, something sharp settled into place. I wasn't going to fight her. I was going to end her. The shift. I called a man I hadn't spoken to in years. A man my son didn't even know existed. His uncle. My late husband's brother. My son had grown up believing his father's side abandoned us. He never knew the truth. They wanted nothing to do with me, but they adored the boy. And while I worked 3 jobs, they built fortunes. Quietly, ruthlessly. I kept them away to protect him, to raise him without the poison of money. But that night, when his new bride slapped me, I decided to let the poison in. The man who walked into that wedding hall wasn't just anyone. He was power in a tailored suit. He was blood my son had never met but could never deny. When my daughter-in-law saw him, her face drained. She knew the type. Men who smile without warmth. Men who don't forgive. He announced himself before the room, spoke my son's name, told everyone who he was. The silence was suffocating. And then he dropped the truth. He said the apartment wasn't mine to give. He had transferred ownership to a family trust, legally, irrevocably. My son was still welcome, of course, but her? She would never touch a single brick. She crumbled in front of the guests. My son looked at me, betrayed, not by her, but by me. Because he realized in that moment that I had outplayed them both. She screamed. He cried. And I stood there, calm as stone, watching the empire I'd built shift beneath their feet. They thought they were clever. They thought age had made me weak, desperate, easy to corner. They forgot who raised this family from nothing. They forgot whose hands bled to build it. And they learned, in front of 130 witnesses, that you do not slap the hand that raised you and expect to hold its keys. I didn't stay for the cake. I didn't stay for the dancing. I walked out of that hall the way I walked in, alone, but lighter. Later, people asked why I humiliated my own son on his wedding day. I tell them this: I didn't humiliate him. He did that himself when he chose her greed over my sacrifice. I simply revealed the truth. Revenge is not loud. It's not about fists or screams. It's about timing. It's about control. It's about walking away with your head high while they drown in the mess they created. That night, I didn't just keep my apartment. I kept my dignity. And they kept their tears.